Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. We're here tonight talking about our final WCTV football game of the week. It's a big one. It's the border battle. It's Independence traveling to Summit. Appreciate the head coaches being here today. Independence coach Scott Stidham. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
And Coach Coleman, Brian Coleman of Summit. 2 weeks in a row. It's now the Brian Coleman Coaches Show.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Hey,
glad you chose our game.
That's right.
Over all the
That's
good
right.
games
We
in Williamson County.
appreciate it.
We appreciate that.
It's a big one. So let's talk about this. This is show number 700 for it's Sports Connection, which is the Monday show with Tate. This is also
That's an show.
nobody will.
Does that count? They has.
Yeah.
Do I have to make a hold on those? Because you're a cohort. I don't know.
Yeah,
So you're part of history today.
it's big time.
700.
And I think I've been part of about 100 of them. I was back when it was a different show. We won't say better, but that other host, I don't know if he was as good as you. Well, I don't know if I could.
Oh, Jeremy Qualls.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
that
talk
guy.
about that.
That guy.
Give me some feedback on that.
I was always with you. So
We'll
I
have
don't
Jeremy
know.
watch this. You got some loyalty to Jeremy.
It was a different show. I'm not going to say who was better than the other.
What made it different?
I don't know. You're more energetic than he is. He's kind of just
Oh, good. I think he's being sarcastic. And you and Dr. Qualls go back a while.
We do go back a while. We go back. We were at Marshall County High School together. He was trying to be a basketball coach, and I was trying to be a football coach.
Let's critique his basketball coaching.
Oh, man. He did well. He did great. Him and Coach Mac McCurry didn't get along too well, so basketball and football didn't gel too well.
Whose fault was that?
Probably Mac's. Jeremy Qualls he's going to blame Mac.
Well, you guys know that's kind of a big deal in high school. Basketball and football, let's face it, need to be on the same page, right?
I don't
100%.
disagree. 100%.
Love your new guy, Coach Burgess.
Coach Burgess is a good guy. He's an awesome guy. He's an Auburn fan, so he's all right, I guess. I mean, roll tide, but
And he's got some history with coaching football too.
yeah, he's been an assistant football coach before, so he gets it. I think he's going to be fun to work with. You know, he's working around us so far, and we're working around him so far. So, you know, just get in the weight room. That's all I ask.
And
Get
Coach
those guys in the
Wilkins,
weight room.
obviously you guys, Independence, but also South Gibson.
Yep, he coached my two sons, so I got to pester him as a dad. But you know, he also has football experience because when COVID hit, we were in the playoffs playing Martin Westview, and half our staff was quarantined, and we had him to come help us sub special teams. So, and we won. We beat a five-star quarterback.
So
Give him a headset.
He had ones. We had left over.
Listen, so Coach Wilkins has never mentioned that to me, so he must have messed something up during the game.
Well, his starting point got intercepted, Ty Simpson, to win the game.
Wow.
So he must have done something right.
Okay, that's cool. Now, Coach Coleman may not remember this, but I've sort of had a role coaching Summit football early on. One of my first games I went to as the district AD, and I don't know quite what all the lines were down there. I'm in the wrong spot, and I guess the official said something. Coach Coleman looked over and said, "Get back," and it was me.
Because he probably said you were going to flag if that guy right there would back up. And I was like, well, heck, I use my own flags. I don't need somebody else getting them. This guy seems more energetic than Coach Qualls. There you go.
Didn't even know where the line was at. That's great. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you being here. I know it's a big game tonight. It's a region matchup. Both of you are 2-2. Obviously, when these two schools play, it's a border battle. Doesn't matter what it is. People get fired up about it. But let me ask you this. We'll start with Coach Stidham. The playoff implications, you're both in, but the fact that you can say, hey, we finished third versus finishing fourth, does that add to it, or is it just it's the same difference?
I think it doesn't really matter to our kids. We know whoever wins this is going to play at Antioch, and whoever loses playing at Smyrna. But the rivalry speaks for itself. I think it's almost important, you know, we can't put so much into this game that we forget the next one.
Right.
Because the next one keeps your season alive. So, you know, the rivalry's there, but keeping it in perspective is really important this week.
Coach Coleman, we talked about this last week, and I feel pretty strongly about this. You just got to get in when you're in WCS. Once you're in, I feel like, and again, I know you guys aren't going to say this, but I think we got a shot of sweeping that first round.
It's a competitive region. We are in a competitive region for sure. Yes.
You guys too. So there's been a little talk. I know I bring this up all the time, but I think you guys have been great about it as football coaches. I think us being together is what we want. It's like the SEC, man. I mean, you talk about being SEC football. It's what makes it special that you can finish 8th in the SEC and you're still real good.
And if we're not together, we're going to play each other anyway because everybody respects each other. That's why we played Knowlesville, and you're playing all the WCS schools too. So, I mean, if we're not in the same region, we're still going to play each other, I think.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, in your sport, obviously, you got to worry about injuries and some of those kind of things, especially if you're a smaller school. Both of you, obviously big enough schools, that's not as much an issue. If I'm a 3A school, maybe it's different.
Sure. Well, you think that, and then you get a kid hurt. So it's, it's just the one.
Kick yourself for
but you look, the team that's probably going to finish 5th in our region just beat a region champion last week.
That's right.
An undefeated team.
Yeah. So it's brutal every week, and it's so competitive between all of us. There's not a lot of difference.
Well, and I've said that too. You guys are talking about Franklin High. If you could theoretically put Franklin in the playoffs, they'd have a shot to advance.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of fun to watch. I know you guys get stressed about it some, but from my position, it's really fun. Let's talk a little game history. This has been a great rivalry, not only because you're located close, but it's a close rivalry. Played 10 times over the years. Independence with a 6-4 lead. Early on in the rivalry, Summit, a little newer school, Independence sort of dominated. Then, Coach, you guys won 3 games in a row. Independence breaks that streak last year. Coach Coleman's coached in every game but one. Last year was your first one. It kind of reminded me, too, when I was at Beach, Anthony Crabtree, the first game he ever coached was against Hendersonville.
Oh, gosh.
And they beat them. So, Coach, for you to be 1-0 in the border battle, the folks at Independence are probably like, there you go, Coach, that's the one you got to win.
Expectations. You better be nervous, Coach.
It was 21-3, and we were down. I was about to get run out of town. So, no, it was fun. It's a competitive game. You don't know what's going to happen. But if you're a competitor, you like going against good people, and that's what we do every week, and the atmosphere is great. So it's just a great challenge for our kids.
Coach Coleman, I thought this was interesting, that you guys, as great as the programs have been, you've been in the same league, I think 7 or 8 of those games. Y'all have never played in the playoffs.
That's true. We never met in the playoffs in the second round. Didn't realize that.
So
that's different.
Think if y'all played in the playoffs, how nutty it'd be.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it would be. Obviously, if you play this year, you're both going to be happy because you're really deep.
TWS will be happy if we meet in the playoffs.
That's right.
No doubt.
That's right. Hey, and there will be nobody we let in free from the home side. We can promise that. So let me ask you this, Coach Coleman. Let me start with you on this one. Regardless of what week it is, but when you play a school like Independence, which is obviously Summit's, that's a big rival.
Yeah, we're little brother.
Do you mention it? Do you talk about it? Do you say it's another game, or do you kind of play into that? Yes, we want to win and show. How do you handle that? Is it different years?
We want to win. No, I mean, all you got to do is say it's Indy week. I mean, that's all you do, and the kids are automatically fired up. Now, the 3-4 thing, we can throw that in there. Does it really mean anything to them? Probably not. They don't know Smyrna from Laverne. I mean, Smyrna from Antioch. So, I mean, as coaches, we use anything. We'll use anything. I mean, I don't know. It's just the same.
Same kind of thing, Coach Stidham?
Yeah, I mean, the schools get excited, student bodies. Our kids, you don't have to get them excited. They're going to be ready to play.
Right.
And every WCS team, they're ready to play. But this one's a little bit different, because we're so close. But, the preparation's where you got to do it, like every week. It doesn't change. But you don't have to get your kids excited.
And I think you said it right. The student body gets excited more than anything. So that gets the kids excited because they see it every day.
Absolutely.
So that's a good point.
How do you handle this? Because I always felt like in these rivalries, you're naturally a little more juiced. And I'm thinking in your game, sometimes that can result in penalties. Yeah. And so you got to be cautious of that kind of thing, right?
You got to be smart about it. That's for sure. Use that in your favor.
Yeah.
It helps us out a bit. Maybe the pregame speech ain't got to be as detailed.
That's true.
It's Indy. Let's go.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think controlling your emotions is important, and because they'll get so excited, our kids will, that they'll make mistakes they normally don't. So, penalties and just forgetting what they're coached to do because they're so amped up. So being under control is going to be important.
Let's talk about your games last week. Brentwood, coach, dropped the game 28-0. Now, you were some people down, too. Offense only gained 123 yards. You played without Luke McNeely, but should be pretty close to full strength this week, right?
Yeah, we hope so. And Brentwood's great now.
They are.
Give them a lot of credit. We didn't play our best game, and they're really good, and that's what happens. And so, we're excited to get back to work. We were ready to get back to work Monday. We watched the film and showed the things that we messed up, and hopefully it's all correctable and we can play better this week.
Coach Coleman, your game, also the WCTV game of the week last week. We thought it would be a good one, and it really was. 17-14, it was close throughout. It had to have a playoff kind of atmosphere, too, that game did.
It was fun. It was a good game. Just it's the story of our season. We're just right there. A mistake or two, we lose it off a mistake or two. We snapped the over the punter's head, which was crucial. I think it gave them our defense held them to a field goal there, and then a couple fourth downs we didn't get. So it's just a story of our season. We're almost right there, and hopefully we can get over the hump.
Coach, with your team, and it's a credit to your team, you've had that bounce back ability. One of the things that Tate and I talked about, when you lost that Green Hill game, and I think you even said it, it had the feel of, oh man, they might get down about this and not, but your kids have bounced back every time.
Yeah, they're fighting. That's all you can ever ask. I mean, the mistakes are going to happen. We try to correct them. We're going to have to correct them. Just quit beating ourselves. Quit beating ourselves. That's all. That's what we need to do.
Well, and you, again, this is not a knock on your team or your talent or anything like that. You've got a team that, let's face it, those little mistakes kind of show up.
Yeah, those show them. They'll cost us.
And your team's like that too. Let's be honest. It's just tough.
Yeah, neither one of us have a lot of room for error. That's for sure.
100%.
So they've gotten so much better as the year goes on, and both of us have played not only WCS but then a brutal non-region schedule. So we're both as ready as we can be for this game tonight to play against a great opponent.
Well, I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to get our team ready for that first round.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why you play as good as you play.
Let me ask y'all this, and I'm not telling you, I'm not going to give somebody like bulletin board material saying we'd rather play Antioch or Smyrna, but in terms, and you may not even watch them, style of play, do you kind of match up better or worse with one of them, or do you even know at this point?
I haven't watched them. I mean, I've saw them. I think
Ravenwood played Smyrna. Smyrna.
I did see that, but we were looking at Ravenwood. So.
Yeah, I saw Antioch play Nolensville, so we know about them, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't studied them like each other for tonight by any means.
Let's talk about the region a little bit. So it's set in terms of the playoffs. Ravenwood, Brentwood, somebody's going to be 1, somebody's going to be 2, 3, 4 this one. Let me just ask you guys this. Take a little pressure off this game. What are your thoughts about that game tonight, Battle of the Woods?
It'll be a great game. Now, they're two really, really well-coached teams. They both have a lot of talent and speed and physicality. So it seems like every game we played other than last week has been close in WCS. I think our game will be like that tonight, and I think so will theirs.
Same thing, Coach?
Same thing. I mean, Coach Hesher's going to watch this. He'll get a phone call today if I say anything about him. But no, I mean, Brentwood has a great quarterback. You've got to contain him. Ravenwood, I think whoever makes the least mistakes, if a mistake might hurt somebody, I believe. And that's story football, really. But.
And you guys, of course, was last week, and you guys played great against Brentwood. Brentwood seems to be kind of one of those teams. It's not just overly impressive, their talent. They just win.
But that's
They've got
good.
seniors.
But that's good when you get to the playoffs. You're not going to beat anybody by 35, probably. You got to win close games and know how to win close games and don't get nervous about it. So I think that's going to bode well for Brentwood.
Yeah, they're good. The quarterback, I do believe, special. I really do. But they're just sound, defensively, fundamentally sound. They do a great job in all phases. But yeah, I agree with you that they're just a well-coached, good football team, and you play that every week around here, so it's fun.
So we don't like Wilco and Wilco crime, but Coach Finch, if you get another transfer quarterback next year, these guys they're opening up an internal investigation.
Daggone right. Him and that Cadell guy.
Hey, let's talk about your teams offensively. obviously, you do it in a different way, but this is we're going to see the ball. You're going to run the ball tonight a little bit.
Well, yeah, both of us are. And you need to do that in the playoffs to win. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So the offensive and defensive line is going to be big tonight. Who can win the battle of the trenches and who can be physical enough to do it. So running the ball is going to be important. But then you say that, and then they complete an 80-yard pass last week. So if you get too focused in on the run, then you can get beat over the top really fast.
And Coach Coleman, you've talked about this a lot. Playoff football, it's cold.
Cold, rain.
You're going to have to run it.
Something else, it gets nasty.
So the way you guys play sort of,
I'd like to think so.
it bodes well in the
I
playoffs.
would really like to think so, yeah. And I think two unique offenses. Hardly anybody runs his offense, hardly anybody runs our offense. So it's unique to a defense. It's unique for a scout team to have to run, which that's the problem. I mean, we're trying to run his offense all week, and it's nowhere near the speed that he's going to run it in. So that's what our guys have to get used to pretty fast in that first series is the speed of the offense ran the way they do. Let's
talk about it defensively. Coach Stidham, I would argue maybe the strength of your team has been your defense.
Yeah, they've kind of had to be. But, they've done a pretty good job, and we didn't give up. We gave up two or three really big plays to Brentwood. But other than that, you try to make them snap it again and make them snap it again, make them drive, because it's hard for a high school offense to drive the length of the field. But they've done a good job. We made a few errors, and when you're playing a really good team like we do every week, then it's easy to get scored on. So being sound is really important tonight.
Coach Coleman, we talked about it last week, and it continued. Really starting with that Brentwood game, your defense has really played well, and do it again last week against a team that can be pretty darn tough offensively.
They're keeping us in the game, that's for sure, and yeah. So don't give up the big plays. That's been our Achilles here all year. Like perfect. He said it perfectly. You make them snap it over again, and it's tough for a high school to accept 3 yards at a time. It's tough for a lot of offense coordinators to accept 3 yards at a time or 4 yards at a time. But the defense has got to keep us in it again tonight for sure.
Special teams, Coach Stidham, and this is usually a knock on a team when you say that, but not on yours. Your kicker may be the MVP of your team.
Yeah, and our punter, both of them. Yeah, Landrick Maskey's been great for us, kicking. He missed a field goal against Brentwood and was still mad about it. But he's corrected and had a great week. And Andrew Bingham's been outstanding as a punter, and that's helped our defense because, again, pinning them back deep and making them snap it and drive the length of the field is important.
Coach, you've had a few frustrations special teams-wise. You talked about earlier, too, the miscue. What do we have to do special teams-wise heading into the playoffs to improve there?
Definitely clean it up this week. That's a third of the game, like every coach says. So that'll hurt you. Whenever you have a punt blocked or a special teams error like that, your percentage of winning a game goes way down. So it's hard to recover from those type.
Let's get away from tonight's game and then look a little bit ahead of the playoffs in terms of your team, not who you're playing. Offensively, defensively, what are some things you're looking for your team this week to improve and to continue to improve heading to the playoffs?
Well, it goes back. We need to avoid negative plays, and that's what we had a lot last week, and a lot of that credit goes to Brentwood just being a great defense. But when you get behind the chains, it makes it tough. But also, we need to become more balanced and throw the ball some. Because when teams know what you're doing and they load up and they're better than you, physically and just how equal to you, it makes it tough. So being able to continue to improve on those little things that we've done offensively, we're getting better, but we need to play really well tonight just to continue to peak for November.
What about your team, Coach? We obviously talked about special teams, trying to clean up a few things there. What are some things offensively and defensively you're like, hey, we're going to get better at these things heading into the playoffs?
Mental note that they're going to throw the ball more, first of all.
Which means 5 times.
Yeah, back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the story of high school football. I mean, our defense has played well. They got to keep us in the games. We can't give up the big plays. Our offense has to be consistent. We're not geared to make we don't want to try to make a 2nd and 15 or a 2nd and 20 or a 3rd and 15 or something like that. We can throw the ball, but when the other team, our best is play action. Probably both teams. Our best is play action, but we're not a great it's 3rd and 15. The defense knows we're fixing to throw it and then be successful at throwing it, okay? We will every once in a while. I think we did one. We converted like a 3rd and 15 last week, which is good. We can get better at. But I think our game is play action for sure.
Well, and talk about this too. You know, to me, I'm kind of fascinated at the teams that run it a lot. Like for me, just watching as a fan, I don't have obviously the knowledge you guys do with football. The teams that throw it every time fascinate me, and the teams that run it a lot fascinate me. It's one of those things too. I think especially in today's time, how do you sell that? Because I think everybody gets enamored with throwing the ball a lot. But for your teams, you're doing what you have to do to try to win. Is there any kind of sell job that has to happen there? I'm sure the linemen like it.
I guess ours is physicality. You say you want to be more physical than the other team. We want to be able to, and it's a dream of ours. If they know we're fixing to run the ball and we can still run the ball. They pack the box and we can still run the ball. That's what you want it for us to happen. Is a different, and there are different philosophies in coaches. You know, they want to sling it all over and snap the ball every 5 seconds. That's not us. We want to grind the clock down. We want to pound we want to run the football and be physical. Again, playoff football, in my opinion, cold, wet, rainy, whatever, you want to be able to run the football because sometimes you start throwing it every 5 seconds, then it first, second, third down, you're punting you've not even drained 50 seconds off the clock. So, our philosophy is just grind the clock out, run the ball, even when they know they're going to run the ball, but then the play action game, maybe throw it over the top when they start coming up.
Coach, talk about the challenges of, because the modern fan, I get, they want to see you throw it all the time.
Sure. Well, I think you fit your talent. I mean, his scheme's still the same nuts and bolts as it was when the Wade brothers were there.
Yeah.
And they threw it more. I mean, not all the time because they could do it, but you use what you have. So both of our offenses are adaptable to our personnel. So it's just what we have right now, and our kids are buying into it because of the way we teach it. I think our coaches do a great job of teaching and help them understand that this gives us the best chance to win on Friday. I don't care what it looks like, but that's each team's goal.
Very well said, and I think, people that don't coach, they don't necessarily get it. You're doing what you have to do for this particular team to win. I was asked one time what style you'd like to play coaching basketball, and I was like, well, I'd like to run up down the floor and throw lobs for dunks and shoot threes off the break, but had to win some games in the 40s every once in a while,
That's
too.
right. Yeah. Sure.
So as high school coaches, especially in the public school setting, unless we're getting a transfer quarterback every year, Coach Finch,
Brentwood.
You got to look at what you have, right? That's coaching.
Sure.
I mean, we'd love to throw it 80 yards for a touchdown and, kick the ball. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Adapt to what you have. Coach said it great. He did.
And if you play good defense and you can run the ball, you got a chance in every game. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
NFL, pro, college, all levels of football.
Well, and you guys have educated me on this, the coaches here in WCS, because I've paid attention to this. I don't care what style you play. When you get to the championship level, those teams can run the ball.
Yeah.
Correct?
Sure.
And they can stop the run.
Yep. Well, and you look at college football, look at USC. I mean, they're a wide open offense, but they're having trouble stopping people defensively, and they have trouble running the ball consistently, and they probably have one of the most talented rosters in America. And so that's where we start with.
And look at the few state champions in the past few years of high school. I'm trying to think back. Of course, we know Oakland. That's a wing T-based offense. Coach Stewart was always there with East Nashville, and they were a run-based offense. I guess all the good teams. I know they're the good teams, but I don't know how many of those snap it every 5 second offenses have made it to the state championship and won it for sure. I could be wrong, but I just can't recall. Hadn't been 6A for sure because it's been Oakland the past few years.
Right. Well,
5A, I don't think so either. So
right. Your teams, same thing. You could run the ball.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about tonight's game. So offensively, Coach Stidham, taking care of the ball, obviously a big priority in what you do. That's going to be a big focus.
Absolutely. That's every football game. It starts with the same plan. And turnovers are going to be huge tonight. And so we have to find a way to take care of the ball. We show our kids each week when we've taken care of the ball, we've either won or been right there. And when we haven't won the turnover battle, we've lost most of those games this year. So it's going to be huge it's compounded with I think two pretty equal teams, especially.
Coach Coleman, so tonight you're going to see a lot of 3 and 4 yard gains, but I would think in this game too, when you both run it so much, the difference could be who has the biggest plays on offense.
100%, whether it be a pass or a run, either way. And we spoke on it earlier, Coach made a good point, control your emotions. Your emotions will probably calm down after that first quarter for sure, maybe even first series, but you know, you can come out amped up all you want to, but control it. You got to put it in the right direction.
Let's talk about the defenses. Coach Stidham, again, different style, but is there any kind of advantage for your defense in terms of being a little bit prepared for it that they face the run a lot in practice? Does that help, even though it's different?
Maybe the physicality part, maybe, but they're really good. And they get your eyes in the wrong place, and all of a sudden, you know, you might run the ball. It's not always 3 and 4. Sometimes they run the ball for 25 and 30. So being really sound with what we do defensively, reading your key, understanding your fits, and then you got to make tackles in space because they run it. They cover all 53 yards with where they get across the field. So making tackles in space is going to be really important tonight.
Practicing against your team in terms of running the ball, does that help you?
He's different. They're different. Ours is discipline. If you have dive, you better take dive. If you have quarterback, if you have pitch. If you try to do somebody else's job, then they're going to hurt you. That's for sure. If somebody who's supposed to have dive goes and takes quarterback, there they go for 50. So you have to be a very disciplined defense.
Let me ask you this. This is just a practice kind of question. If you're preparing for a team that throws it 40 times, you trying to get your scout team to do that?
Sure,
You have to.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Have to.
Which is obviously difficult.
Have
Yeah,
to.
yeah, I think so. But you know, those freshmen or your JV type kids that aren't playing any more games, it's easier for them to just kind of go, oh yeah, what are we doing? The importance of them on scout team, no matter who you're playing, it can't be spoken how valuable that is to your team.
Yeah.
And so keeping those kids involved is really important.
Yeah, I grabbed 5 or 6 guys. I run the scout O, so 5 or 6 guys this week. All right, guys, you're going to learn this offense. So here we go, and they're getting better at it.
We're
not going to do it by Thursday. Oh, it'll be too late. We told them by Thursday it's too late, and you got to get good at it right now. So we play them tonight. So it's those 5 or 6 guys are having a good time running your offense.
And you probably have to remind
Those
your
skill
defense.
guys.
You have to remind your defenses, like, I understand they're making some big plays, but they don't care about making mistakes. They're just,
That's right. That's right.
They're having fun with it.
Sure.
it's a lot of fun. Well, gentlemen, appreciate you being here as always. Looking forward to tonight's game. Again, border battle, Independence traveling to Summit. And thank you for being part of history. Shell number 700.
700. That's something that might go on our team.
We are the Simpsons. We are the Simpsons of WCTV.
Beat out Tate Matthews for one time. He didn't get the 700. There we go.
That's right.
He had 699. We
That's
had
right.
700.
That's right.
There you go, Tate.
Thank you, gentlemen. Looking forward to tonight and the playoffs. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Show. We'll see you next time.